Hey, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show coming to you every Monday, 6 a.m. UK time. And welcome back, I guess. It's been 2 weeks without an episode, and I'm sorry. I just, got caught up with different things. And I just had a friend visiting last weekend and had a busier weekend the weekend before. It was just, a lot of stuff happening all at once, so couldn't really find time to record, which is very annoying, but also I think it was needed. It just needed a little bit of a break because work has been very busy, and so I just needed some time off, so off from the podcast, I guess. But I am back, so and I'm here to discuss something that has just been I've been obsessed with, I guess, for the past I would say like a couple of weeks, basically. So ever since I literally logged off. Oh, apologies for the background noise as well, but it's just too hot and the weather has been crazy good in that sense. But I have to keep my window open or I'm gonna die, basically. But you're gonna hear basically the background of a very lively city, so this is great. The police come in through every 2 fucking seconds, great. But I was saying that I became obsessed with this very famous TV show called The White Lotus. I am culpable of not watching the first 2 seasons when they aired for the first time. And that was 2021, I believe, when the first season came out. So yeah, I've known about it, of course. I've seen the memes online. I've seen Jennifer Coolidge, and everything, all the memes happening from there, especially the second season popped off, I think. But I never really watched it. So I just, decided to give it a go now because the third season is about to finish literally I'm recording on the Sunday, technically Sunday in the US. That's when it's going to end. So when my episode comes out, it's going to be just finished. It's going to be the final episode would have just come out, basically. So this is an interesting episode because I think I'm going to be making basically speculations on who I think is going to die at the end of the season and who is the victim, who's the killer, and all that. So without actually knowing what's going to happen. So it's going to be a surprise. Let's see, it's going to be a test basically to see if my theory is correct or not. Because it will happen at the same bloody time. But I think it's also a very appropriate time to talk about it because the hype is real. I think for this season specifically, I think the last 2 episodes have been the episodes with a higher viewership in the series overall. So that's incredible. So, it's doing really well. It's being watched by a lot of people, which is great. And it's just very, also a very controversial season, I guess, because there's plenty of elements. But I'll get to that when I discuss the season in general, and then I get to my theories and all that stuff. So, yeah, but first, songs of the week, and it's been, as I said, 2 weeks, so I'm gonna have to talk a bit extensively about some songs. There's plenty of songs for this month, and this is gonna be the first I guess row of songs for the month. So you can find them, of course, in my playlists of the month that I always make with the compiling all the songs of the week for that month. And you can simply type on Spotify the Overshare Pamphlet songs of the week, and then the month and the year you're currently based in. So yeah, let's start off with. I'm gonna unfortunately have to start off with this song called, not unfortunately, but I just didn't expect this song to make my list, but this song is called Shameful Game by Pale J, and I don't want to say unfortunately because there's something wrong with it, but I think this song and the next one both suffer, I guess, from the fact that they sound like, I don't know, like TikTok viral sounds or whatever, and I'm so annoyed by that, but I think they're genuinely good songs. So yeah. So the first one, though, as I said, is "Shameful Game" by Pale J, and it's a very I would say like R&B ish type of track. Um, there's this very like catchy whistling motive, I guess, for the entire song, which is very cool. And then the vocals are like very, I would say, falsetto-y in that sense, and it's the same thing as the next song I'm going to talk about after this. Um, there's not much emphasis, I guess, on the words themselves, like the lyrics and all, but I think it's just a very vibey track, and it's such a good background song. I guess that's the best way I could describe it, in a good way, not in a bad way, but it's just very chill, very nice, very R&B adjacent, I would say. So yeah, that's one. The next one is "Pretend Lovers" by Montel Fish, and this is more like the vocal delivery and everything is very similar. I think this song sometimes sounds like it's a looped song, like in terms of the vocal chops, and then there's just a production that was slapped on the back. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but it's also a very vibey song, very cool. I like the guitar a lot. I'm a sucker for a guitar, and it's fully electric guitar-y, and I don't know if there's also acoustic guitar in this, but very cool stuff. And the very interesting part, I guess, about this song is that the longer it goes, the I don't want to say messier it gets, but sort of. I guess the production becomes very noisy in a interesting way. I guess like it becomes very loud and bass boosted or something. I don't know, but very cool stuff. It's a very cool track. It does, as I said, suffer a bit from like that TikTok viral sound or whatever. But I'm not complaining because I am actually listening to both of these songs quite a lot. They're very, again, as I said, vibey tracks. Um, then we have to discuss Ariana Grande's extended release of what was it? Eternal Sunshine. She released the deluxe version called Brighter Days Ahead, I think. And there's a total of I think 5 songs or even more than that. Let me see. She put out basically a bunch of new songs. Yeah, I think it's actually it's 6 technically, including the extended intro basically, which was already in the original album. But I've seen online a lot of people picking different songs, and I don't know if I've seen a lot of chatter about this one, though. My favorite one, which is "Warm," and is the one that's going to be included in this playlist. But I mean, I've seen people talk about "Dandelion" and Hampstead as well. Hampstead is a great track as well. I love it. Very like it's a very cool ballad. But my favorite one is "Warm," just in terms of beat and production, and I think it really fits also on Eternal Sunshine in general in terms of consistency of production, and it's just a very catchy song, but also very beautifully written. It's about basically like being okay on your own, like being happy on your own, but also meeting that person that complements you so well that makes your life even better in that sense. So yeah, so it's warm in your arms. Like I'm okay on my own, but it's warm in your arms. Basically, that's the whole message of the song. Basically, it's very cool, very catchy, and production is very dreamy, as most of the rest of the Eternal Sunshine is. Very interesting stuff, and just great vocals by Ari as usual. Like she's a vocalist, period. So you cannot expect anything different from her. Like that's really, really, really good. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have to say, like, I enjoyed this era that she's had. I think it's, I have to be honest, the more artistically motivated one that she's ever had. Actually, maybe ever. Yeah, between all the releases that she's had, but very cool stuff. And actually, I'm excited to see that she actually extended the era a bit more. And it seems like it goes very much well in like hand in hand with the Wicked release schedule ish. So the first Wicked came out, and like several months before she released Eternal Sunshine, right? So she's doing the same now with the extended version of the album, and then the second part of Wicked coming out at the end of the year. So she's trying to like be very I don't know, calculated when it comes to being present on the scenes, like on social media and all that stuff, and being part of the conversation. So she's she's been in the conversation now. And she's gonna take a little bit of a break, I guess, and then when the movie comes out, she's gonna be back doing promotions and all that stuff. So very cool stuff to see as well. Great song. Then Kali Uchis kicked off her new era with a new single called Sunshine and Rain. This is the first single of her upcoming album, and is just so impressive. I just love Kali Uchis. Like, she's just so good, so good. And I literally didn't even know that she was on so many great tracks. But Sunshine and Rain is, I mean, I'm of course a huge fan of her previous albums as well. I loved Red Moon and Venus. That's probably her best album, I would say. Maybe, I don't know. A lot of her albums are great. Even In Isolation is great. And I don't know. I feel like just this song was just really cute. Her album Sincerely is coming out on the 9th of May 2025. So just buckle up, because there's a lot of stuff happening. And Sunshine and Rain is just beautiful track, incredible melody, very ballady almost, but also soulful and very vibey, like so nice. So it's about sunshine and rain, seasons change, and all that stuff. So it's about like moving through life and all of that. So it's a very beautiful track. I think I just love her vocals the most. I think it's just incredible, and I also feel like she's just ready to give us some more art. I think her previous album was fully in Spanish. I think she said this one is going to be either fully in English or like mostly in English, and I'm excited to see also if there's any collaboration. I think people are speculating that Ariana Grande is also going to be in this album, which I'm interested about, because I think that would be a great addition to her discography. So yes, indeed, check it out. That's probably my favorite song out of all these ones that I'm listing. Such a good track. Yeah. Then I really want to talk about Another World by Miley Cyrus, because this is shaping up to be an interesting release by Miley, and this is her second single off of Something Beautiful, her new album coming out, I think, what is it, May as well? 30th of May, yeah. And basically, this is completely different from whatever she's done before. Like, she's supposedly releasing a short film for this with all the tracks from the album in it. Or I don't know if it's like even necessarily a short film, but she's already released 2 tracks in the same week, I believe. And she released, let me check it out again. Well, she released the first 3 tracks. She released the prelude, which is not exactly a track, it's just an intro, a small intro, and then Something Beautiful, which is the also the title track, basically, and it's a very like interesting rock song, like a proper rock song. And then Another World, which is a very ABBA coded song in my opinion, and I don't know, like this feels different for Miley. This feels more like upper tier, serious, pop star move here. Like a very well thought out era, more than Flowers was. Like the whole, what was it? Well, that is her most streamed song, but I thought the whole era of Endless Summer Vacation was mostly like it was rotating mostly around the single. No other song really stood out, which is fine, I guess. And the album wasn't really that exceptional, I think. So, which makes me believe that she had a hit and she attached a lot of songs to it. But this seems more like she made an album, if you know what I mean. Like, she conceptualized this. And End of the World is just a gorgeous song. Very summery, but also very freeing. Like, like there's 1,000 things can happen to you, but it's not the end of the world. Like you can still live on and all that stuff. Like it's a very empowering song, and also very ABBA coded. Like there's the famous like piano thing that they always do, the staccato notes that they always put in ABBA songs. It's a bit throwbackish, but also very catchy. And just I'm excited for this album, for this rollout. It's just very cool, and I love the song. So it's shaping up to be something very interesting. So yeah. Last but not least, to conclude, Joe, but it's spelled like DJO. I don't know, but either way, I think it's the guy who played who made a song when I'm back in Chicago, which I got sick of because of TikTok. But he came out, or his band, I don't know, with a new album, which is called The Crux. And the whole album is very, very cool. I love the album. Interesting stuff. And I have to say, my favorite song is Lonesome is a State of Mind. That is my favorite track. That is so nice. Such a good track. Still, I would say on that wavelength of, when I'm back in Chicago, whatever that song is called. But I would say this album is a bit more interesting, melodically different. Even each track sounds like evolves in different ways, and it's very unexpected the way it goes, but also very, I would say, reminds me a bit of like the Beatles, a bit of that era of music. Very cool stuff. So I don't know, just check it out if you want some like an easy listen, but that is like very interesting and stimulating. The Crux seems like it's the vibe. I know Delitia is also one of the more famous songs that's coming out. So just check it out. I think the full album deserves a full listen. I think you should actually listen front to back, because it's a very seamless, basically, experience, I would say, between each track. So yeah, just slay. Just go and listen. But anyways, enough yapping about that. Enough yapping about the songs, because we have limited time. But yes, I want to talk about the White Lotus. And I was saying at the beginning that I didn't really jump on the hype when the first seasons were coming out, and I just jumped on the hype now because I frankly, well, I guess the way it went was that before I didn't really exactly know what the whole shebang was about. It just seemed to me like a bunch of rich people doing whatever, and I was like, what's the point in that? Like, I'm not really interested in watching that. Like, I don't know. I couldn't find any like good reason to watch it, and I was completely unaware of the fact that it was actually a murder mystery series in that sense. So, yeah. But then third season rolled around, and I saw online all the crazy stuff that was happening. I saw Parker Posey's performance on the third season. I saw Lisa from Blackpink being on the show, and then I saw the incest between the two brothers on the show, and I was like, you know what, this is so HBO, and I need to see what's going on. I need to be part of this conversation, because I've seen the chat online, and it's just so much fun. So it's a great place to be in. Please join us. I mean, the TV show is about, like, the series is about to end. Well, actually, I don't know. I think they may be, I don't know if they've already renewed it for a fourth season, but I hope they do, because I can now see that there's a lot of great stuff that could be done. Like, there's so many other opportunities that can be taken with this show, which is very interesting. So yeah, but yeah, basically the entire premise of this TV show in general is that it's an anthology series, which means that each season is a standalone, I guess, story. There are some recurring themes and also some returning characters in each season, but you do not need to see all the seasons to understand a new season or something. I don't know, like, you can watch each season in its own matter, basically, by itself. So great. And I literally actually did experience this, because I started watching season 3 without having watched the first 2 seasons, and then in between waiting for the episodes to come out weekly, I was like, you know what, let me just watch the entire TV show. And I did, and I was not really spoiled by much, I guess, which is incredible. But I would still say, if you can, if you are interested in watching the whole thing, to go from first season to the last, because there is a reoccurring story. At least there are some, you will want to know, I guess, like the backstory for some characters, I guess, that are returning. But most of the characters are new, completely new each season, with completely different dynamics and different stories and backstories and everything. So every time I guess a new season comes out, it's always it's like a new TV show basically coming out. It's so much fun. So yeah, first season was, well, and again, like the story, each season sort of like moves in the same way, in the sense that you start off with each season basically covers an entire week at this very luxurious resort called the White Lotus. And the White Lotus is placed in like, they have different hotels and spas. It's a fictional, of course, chain, but they have different hotels, that span across the world. So each season focuses on a different location, right? And each season also starts off with the last day of the week, where a body is discovered by one of the characters, and you don't know who's the body, and you know who's the character who died, and you don't know who killed that character. So then you go back from the beginning of the week, and you have to like spend time with all the characters to eventually find out who killed who. And that is just so much fun. So yeah, I didn't know much about the murder mystery part of this, which I am so mad about, because if I had known, I would have watched everything from the beginning. But again, it didn't start too long ago. It started, I think, on the 21st, in 2021, and it's just a very funny TV show. It's like, dark comedy a bit sometimes. Sometimes it goes very far with the amount of nonsensical stuff that happens on the show, in a good way, like, as in, these are all crazy rich people who have very weird lives and weird fixations, and say the most out of pocket shit ever. And it's a critique, of course, as expected, of upper classes and rich people and billionaires and all that stuff. But I would venture to say that it's also, each season, I think, is a bit more complex, and the budget becomes bigger, and the more stuff is included in the TV show. And I think what really transpires is, aside from a critique of society in general, but also I think how most of these people, at the end of the day, despite being billionaires and whatever, rich people and successful people, apparently, the interesting thing is that each of the characters have, I guess, characteristics and sides of them that are very vain and very common between people. So despite the power and everything, they're still vain, and I don't want to say relatable necessarily, but they have a lot of aspects that you can, like, I guess, identify with, and that's very interesting, I think, to see. And there's a lot of dynamics between the characters. There are a lot of dynamics, I guess, that are very common between friend groups or relationships or anything in general, and it's just so interesting. So I think if you want to watch it, it's, apart from the mystery itself, I think it's also worth watching it for the dialogues and the writing, the script writing, I guess, in that sense, of the entire thing, because it is that good, I think. So yeah, first season is set in Hawaii, and then second season is set in Sicily, and then this third season is set in Thailand. So, and as I said, each season is like slightly upgraded in terms of budget and everything, and it's all shot in gorgeous places. And I think they actually used in different seasons also some real hotels, like the Four Seasons in Hawaii, in Maui, I think. And I think also in Thailand, part of the season was also shot in one of the Four Seasons there. But yeah, incredible stuff. So, but I want to discuss mostly, I want to talk about mostly the third season, because it's the one that's coming out. I would leave you guys to watch the rest of the seasons, I guess. And you should, I think. So that's great. But this third season follows basically, as I said, a different set of characters. One part of this set, I guess, is a family of 5 people. Not me forgetting the sister, but anyways, so it's the basically it's a season. Well, I guess like that is the main chatter that is going around is about that family because the incest is about the two brothers in that family. But yes, so you follow this family called the Ratliff family, and Isaacs is playing Timothy Ratliff, who is the dad basically of the family, and he's a finance guy who is basically bringing his whole family to this trip because his daughter is basically there for allegedly a seminar study, or like she wants to research on her thesis for her uni or something like that. Then it turns out that it's actually not the real reason why she wanted to go there, and she tricked the whole family. But whatever, you'll see why. And yeah, so that's Piper, the daughter. Then Saxon Ratliff is played by Patrick Schwarzenegger, and he is the older brother, who is basically like a jockey type of character, and you know, he is part of course of this infamous incest. And then you have Sam Nivola, who plays Lachlan Ratliff. He's the younger brother, the youngest of the family, and he's sort of like I guess the more confused character here because he's lost basically. He has to make a big decision about where to go for university, just enrolled, and he was chosen by two unis, and he has to decide where to go. And then of course Parker Posey is playing the mom, Victoria Ratliff, and she is, I mean, I'm sure you guys know who Parker Posey is, but if you don't know who Parker Posey is, she was in Dazed and Confused. She's a very famous 1990s actress, party girl. She was in The Doom Generation. She was, I think, also in The House of Yes. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Oh, she was, yeah. She was in so many different things. She was in Blade. Yeah, she did a lot of stuff, but this role for her was just immaculate. She was so good. She plays basically this very stereotypically written like Southern woman who is married to this very rich man, of course, and she is just so campy, so out there. She says the most out of pocket and low key racist also things. And she has she went viral multiple times for the way she speaks because it's a very strong Southern accent. She's like, Piper, no, tsunami, or lorazepam. Well, this stuff. She speaks in a very funny accent, and it's just incredible. So yes, that's a slay. And I think that's an incredible like family in general. The dynamic between the family is just insane. The father, he's this finance guy who is very rich, but basically became rich because of a Ponzi scheme or something like that. And so while he's in Thailand for this holiday, basically the FBI finds out about his whole illegal activities and all that stuff. So he basically loses all the money, but he doesn't have the balls to tell his family, and he would rather he contemplates suicide and killing also his whole family multiple times during the season because he'd rather die than live as a poor man, which is insane shit, but crazy stuff. So yeah, that's the family. Then you follow also another group of three women, which are all basically high school, like longtime friends who come basically to this White Lotus because one of them is a very famous actress and paid for all of it. And so you have Leslie Bibb, who's playing Kate Bohr, a country club wife, basically from Texas, and low-key a Trumpy, a Trump supporter. Yikes. I mean, the character, not her. But that's the beauty of it. Like, she's so good at playing it as well. And it's Carrie Coon playing Laurie Duffy, who is a corporate lawyer who's been stuck in her job and has been divorced. And she is, I guess, the one that is looked down upon by the other two women, I guess, by the other two friends. And then you have Michelle Monaghan playing Jacqueline Lemon, who is the famous actress basically in the TV show or whatever. And so yeah, it's also very funny to see the three of them, because I think that actually is one of the most interesting like dynamics there, because they each of them, whenever one of the three is not around, they talk shit about each other basically when they're back whenever one of them isn't around. So you take turns with the two of the girls each time, two of the women each time, and they shit talk the other person, and it's just insane. One of them, of course, the shit talk her for being a Trump, which is rightful, I guess, but then the other one, who's the corporate lawyer, did shit talk her about being, not really happy in life and all that stuff, and the divorce and all that stuff. And then they should talk also the actress for being vain and craving male attention all the time. It's just very interesting to see, because like that is so real, that happens so often between friend groups, and you wouldn't even know. And yeah, so a lot of cool, like funny, they're all like supposed to be different variations of, like, I guess Karens, maybe I don't know. They're all like white privileged women, all blondes as well, which is very funny as a choice. But yeah, very funny to see. I love Carrie Coon, but also Leslie Bibb as like a fuck ass Bob, cunty Bob in this show. So I'm like, you know what? They all slay. They all like, and they all are like dressed in the most interesting, like dresses and clothing and all that stuff. So very cool stuff. And then you also have Amy Lou Wood playing Chelsea. You might know her from Sex Education, but she's playing Chelsea, this like girl from Manchester, traveling with her very old boyfriend Rick, who is a very I guess like sauce character. You don't even know. He basically admits to have made money legally multiple times throughout the show, and he's there for a different reason. He's there. He traveled to Thailand to find possibly the man who killed his father. No, yeah, his father. Yeah. So yeah, but it's very interesting. And apparently, this man is the husband of one of the owners of the hotel. Very interesting stuff. So they travel together. Chelsea's just there for the lols and everything, but they have a very interesting dynamic, because they are both not entirely good, like in terms of relationship, but they also love each other, and they're sort of like the opposites. Like Chelsea's very optimistic and very lighthearted and very, I guess a bit too lighthearted sometimes, while he's very serious, sulking all the time about his trauma and not really enjoying himself. So I guess Chelsea sees this as a challenge for herself to like make him better, while he is basically just most of the times annoyed by her, but I guess deep down he actually loves her really much. So yeah. And then there's also some recurring characters, which are basically, well, one of them is a one of the spa workers in the first season who came here basically just to see what the other White Lotus was doing. Basically, she was there for like a seminar or something, I don't know. And so it's incredible. Like, she's back. We didn't expect her, of course. And then you also have Gary/Greg. I don't know if I can say much. Well, you know what? Because I'm going to discuss entire seasons or whatever. It's going to be done by the time I say it. But this guy is, is the ex-husband of the character played by Jennifer Coolidge, and he's the one behind the assassination of her character in the second season. And now he's here with another girl from Quebec, and basically the whole thing is that the woman from the first season recognizes him, and he wants to basically either, I don't know, kill her or something, or just shush her up, basically, because he doesn't want anyone to know about his involvement with the murder and everything else. So that's another thing, another dynamic there. And you think that that's the person who dies, I guess, but I don't think it's that obvious. So yeah, the entire season is like very much about like how each of these groups eventually start interacting with each other, and then they also slowly bring out their own issues, and it becomes more and more dramatic to a point where like this tension builds so much, and someone eventually is gonna bite the bullet, and we don't know yet who it is, and we don't know actually how many bodies are there. I assume it's just one because they just show one body at the beginning, but you'll never know. They haven't actually said how many bodies, so don't know. But I think what really is interesting here is the fact that I don't know. I feel like this time around is just more unpredictable. I think everyone like, for example, first season, I think I didn't really expect like who was gonna do it necessarily, but I was expecting sort of who was gonna do it. I don't know why, but I was expecting like that guy to do it. I don't know why, but and then second season, I think I sort of expected Jennifer Coolidge to die because I think I immediately caught on the fact that that British guy in Sicily was basically had an affair with her husband or something. So, and he said multiple times he would do everything even after 30 years to, make up for it or whatever. I don't know. And so I was like, he's gonna murder her to get all the money from her and give it to him or whatever. And that's what really happened. So, slay. But here, I'm not entirely sure. My theory is that Chelsea is going to die. I've seen some like teasers for the next episode, and there's a very happy scene between Chelsea and her boyfriend, the Manchester girl. And I think she's gonna bite the bullet because I don't know, like things happen in 3. She said multiple times, and she already escaped death 2 times. So it might be that this is gonna be the third one, But also, they made it very clear from the teaser for the last episode that the fruit that they find on this in Thailand here, the venomous fruit, is gonna be a very important part. It's gonna be probably what kills this person. Even though on the first episode you hear gunshots when they find the body, so I don't know what happens there, but there's multiple things at play. So there's this Gary guy who wants to possibly come after the spa lady, and then you also have some Russian guys in this TV show now, like that are stealing from the hotel in the meantime, and they could be involved in that. And and you have also the people working at this resort who are basically being armed to defend the hotel. So there could be like some sort of situation when, like, hell breaks loose because there's like an attempted robbery again, and they use like they start shooting and all this stuff, and someone dies by accident or something. So that could be that. And then you also have the father who wants to kill everyone because just because. I think I would place my bets on the fact that none of the 3 ladies are gonna die, because I don't think there's any chance of that. I mean, I don't see them literally going for the kill. You know what I mean? Unless it's an accident, I guess. But I don't see that happening. And I think it's also, I foresee, because also there's always, in each season, there's always a situation where, like, some tension between the characters gets resolved. But in the last episode, and I think that's going to be them for this season. They're going to, like, make peace with each other and just become friends again or whatever. But I think it's either going to be Chelsea or someone from the Ratliff family, one of the 2 brothers or something. I don't know, something is going to happen, because there's the whole blender situation as well. I think it's either going to be Chelsea or it's going to be the younger brother, I think. So yeah. And at this point, it's just a hunch, because I know what the weapon. I think I'm pretty sure what the weapon is going to be, which is basically this fruit that is going to be, I think, accidentally blended in one of the older brother's protein shakes or whatever. That's what they've been hinting at the whole bloody season. But I don't know who's going to drink it or what's going to happen. Like, what's the situation there? I'm not really entirely sure. So I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next, and I'm so excited for this to come out. So yeah. But anyways, I really recommend this TV show, 100%. I think it's very dramatic, and I think also it puts you in a very. This is the right time to watch it, I think. If you also are a fan of Blackpink, Lisa is also in this season. She's playing one of the like, I think they call it mental. What do they call mental? I don't know, personal trainer, mental trainer, or something. I don't know. She works basically at the spa, and she's one of the locals, and she's honestly, I was so shocked. She's actually so good. This is her first gig as an actress. She's actually a very good, decent actress, actually, and I'm so impressed by her. So also give it a go for that if you're into K-pop and all that stuff. She's really good in it. She actually very much sprinkled properly throughout the entire season, so that's you got a lot of screen time for her, so that's great. But yeah, perfect TV show for the summer. I think it really puts you. It's like all about hot places, beaches, resorts, hot weather. So if you're into that, I guess just give it a go. This is your time to shine. Give it a go. I think you would actually really enjoy it. I think if you enjoy like drama and all that stuff, and also good mystery, this is the TV show for you. And also a lot of sexy situations, I guess. So, and it's HBO. You're gonna see a lot of nudity, so beware of that. But either way, have a great week. See you next episode. Bye.